guarantee the job.
Good morning. I would like to welcome everyone to the Education Professions Committee meeting. We welcome those of you in attendance. Thank you for your interest in the work of the State Board of Education. Do we have any visitors or news media to recognize? Thank you very much. We welcome Jay Ragley, Tammy White, Emily, Tracy Williams, and Kasana, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Welcome to the Education Professions Committee meeting. Committee members, you have before you the minutes from our June 13th committee meeting. Is there any objection to approving the minutes as presented? Hearing none, the minutes are approved by unanimous consent. Next, I ask for approval of the agenda for today's committee meeting. Is there any objection to approving the agenda as presented? Hearing none, the agenda is approved by unanimous consent. We do not have anyone signed up for public comment today. Now moving on to committee items. For approval today, we have 4 items. Our first item is 2023-24 updates to the South Carolina Certification Assessment Program. We have Mary Hipp with us today from the Office of Educator Services to present.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Happy first day of school for a lot of young people out there. Our office, this time of year, we begin focusing on how we support district at the last minute as they're bringing back teachers, bringing back students. And it used to be that we were usually doing that the second and third week of August. I think as many of you know, many of our schools started even one into July last week, so about half of our districts have already brought back students as of today. So we are busy supporting them, and this work is also related to helping them get teachers in their classrooms. So every year we bring to you annual updates to our certification assessment program. Typically these updates are based on Educational Testing Service regenerating tests. They do that on a cyclical basis. And there are 2 exams under the special education umbrella that they have regenerated. These reflect updated standards for the preparation of teachers, the work they do with students. So those 2 tests, Special Education Exam 5355, Foundational Knowledge, we recommend adopting that with a cut score of 145. Exam 5547, Severe to Profound, we recommend adoption of that assessment with a cut score of 156. Anytime ETS regenerates an assessment, they pull together a national panel of experts in the field to look at the standards, develop the specs for the test, and develop the test. Once the test is developed, they then convene a panel of practicing teachers, higher education faculty that prepare teachers to recommend a cut score. And when they recommend a cut score on an assessment, they are looking at the level of knowledge that a just qualified candidate for classroom practice should have. So they're really looking at that baseline knowledge that a beginning teacher would have to successfully enter classroom practice. Does not reflect what a teacher will know at the end of year 1, year 5, year 10. We're looking at that safe to practice beginning to the profession. So those 2 assessments we recommend adoption of. 5355 is used for multi-categorical certification. It's also used as one of 2 tests in several of our specialty areas. In adopting that, we also recommend discontinuing the current assessments a year out. So there'll be a 1-year period where we actually have both assessments offered. That allows for a transition. So we do recommend using that protocol of that 1-year overlap for those 2 assessments. The second, we've got 2 other tests that we recommend adopting this year, not because they have been regenerated, but to offer an additional option for our test takers. So we, in conjunction with ETS, our preparation faculty, test taker data, we look at that. We also work with content area ed associates here in the department to look at the assessments that we offer. And we have 2 assessments that actually our staff in the Office of Standards and Assessment approached us about looking at more particularly. One is the content assessment for art. The other is the content assessment for social studies. So the current exams that we use for art and social studies are used in just a handful of states. There's even been some talk of discontinuing the social studies assessment that we currently use. But we have worked with these higher ed faculty and our ed prep faculty here and recommend adopting 2 additional assessments as options. So a candidate seeking certification in art could take either the current assessment or 5134, with a cut score of 145. Difference in those 2 assessments is essentially this. The current assessment we offer is 90 selected response questions, 3 essay questions. Content and interpretation and analysis. The additional assessment we recommend offering is content knowledge. The interpretation, the analysis questions are actually embedded in the selected response questions. So we have taken a look at this assessment, do recommend adopting it. There are currently 30 states that use this new assessment or this other assessment, so we do recommend adoption. It gives our candidates, I think, a different option in terms of addressing the same content and standards. It is a slightly reduced cost. It's $130 as opposed to $156. They get their score almost immediately, which means that we get the score report much more quickly. Also, it offers an opportunity for candidates that have been prepared in another state to use that test here instead of having to take the one that we use. So we do recommend using that assessment. Social studies, similarly, we actually started conversations about this test a year ago with some higher ed faculty who expressed a concern, and we've been monitoring kind of test taker performance on 5086. We convened a group of higher ed faculty, some beginning teachers, our ed associates in the department who work with social studies. Dr. Ritter participated in that session recently, and this English teacher answered questions on social studies for the first time in a long time. But we took a look at that assessment, and we feel confident it really covers the same body of knowledge. When you think of selected response questions, I think we're very familiar with that. Choose one, A, B, C, D, E. This is a little different. So they actually get at much broader content, not just factual knowledge, but conceptual knowledge, getting at analysis, interpretation through selected response, drag and drop questions. It's very interesting, and I think it was a useful exercise for those of us who have not taken a praxis exam in a long time. So we do recommend adoption of 5081 as an additional option for our candidates seeking certification in social studies. So.
Thank you, Mrs. Hipp, and thank you very much for involving stakeholders like you described with the higher ed, and that's very helpful to us. Thank you for sharing that.
I will say the most interesting comments during that session that we held with ETS on the social studies exam was from a beginning teacher. He's going into his 3rd year of teaching and is coming through an alternative route program. And he was very forthcoming about how he struggled the first 2 times he took the praxis assessment for social studies. And his insights, I think, were very helpful to all of us. And just making us understand sort of the perspective that our test takers come from. Again, it's just that nice reminder of the important conversations with the folks that are out there taking these tests and going into our classroom. So thank you.
Absolutely. Are there any questions? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Board Member Cordray made a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Board Member Slaughter seconded the motion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Item 2 is a new educator preparation program approval recommendation, Coastal Carolina University Master of Arts in Teaching. We have Dr. Ritter from the Office of Educator Services to present.
Good morning.
Morning.
Coastal Carolina University has developed and submitted a new Master of Arts in Teaching with concentrations in English, mathematics, science, and social studies. The Department of Education disseminated the proposal to external peer review team of subject matter experts who evaluated the program to prepare teachers and ensure all requirements established in South Carolina statute, regulation, and guidelines had been met and addressed sufficiently in the proposal. Following the institution's revision of the proposal, the PRC completed a final evaluation and on June 16, 2023, voted to recommend the program for approval by the by the Board of Education. If the program proposal is approved by the SBE, the institution will be able to enroll candidates beginning with the fall 2023 academic semester.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Dr. Ritter? Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion we approve.
Board Member Harrington made a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Board Member Cordray seconded the motion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. The third item for approval is a new educator preparation program approval recommendation, Network for Alternative Preparation in Teaching at Winthrop University. Dr. Ritter will present this item as well.
The next two items are regarding alternative preparation providers and proposals, and I have a brief preface to begin with. In 2017, Regulation 4351 was amended authorizing the State Board of Education to approve additional alternative route certification programs and approve the content areas in which candidates could pursue certification pursuant to rules and guidelines published by the board. After conducting a detailed review of items EP03 and EP04, the SCDE disseminated proposals to external review team members and subject matter experts who evaluated the program to prepare teachers in the specific certification fields and to ensure that all requirements established in South Carolina statute, regulation, and guidelines would be sufficiently addressed. As far as EP03, Winthrop University has developed a new alternative preparation program called the Network for Alternative Preparation in Teaching, or NetApt, in the fields of French, middle-level language arts, middle-level mathematics, middle-level social studies, middle-level science, English, mathematics, and science, Spanish, and special education multi-categorical. Special education will use the established major equivalent for program admission already established. Collaborative partners for NetApt include school districts of Fairfield County, Kershaw County, Rock Hill, or York 3, Chester County, Clover, or York 2, and York 1. The program will be cost-effective and flexible, allowing participants to move through at an individualized yet appropriate and productive pace toward completion. The provider underwent a thorough process to adequately prepare teachers through an alternative route program. Following an initial revision of the program submission, the PRC completed a final evaluation on June 16, 2023, and voted to recommend approval for the program to the SBE. And this will be implementation in fall 2023 academic semester.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Board Member Cordray made a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Board Member Slaughter seconded the motion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion carries.
Thank you.
The final item today is an alternative route program approval, additional certification fields for Teachers of Tomorrow. We have Mrs. Jacqueline Walsh from the Office of Educator Services to present.
Hi, thank you very much. As you all already know, the Teachers of Tomorrow is a currently approved State Board Alternative Route program for certification. And this entity recently submitted a proposal to add the fields of early childhood education and special education multi-categorical. As Dr. Ritt had noted, this program also underwent a very thorough review process and was including both the external peer review team and the professional review committee. If approved, the Teacher of Tomorrow program will be able to enroll candidates in the fields of early childhood education and special education multi-categorical beginning in the fall of 2023. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Is there a motion to approve?
I do have
I'm
a
sorry.
question.
Sure.
Could you talk to me a little bit about the determination of the GPA requirements versus having to take the Praxis Core portion?
So all of our current institutions and alternative certification, or I'm sorry, all our alternative certification programs must already have a bachelor's degree. Currently, for our traditional programs, the requirement is to require Praxis Core to enter a traditional program. So that is not a requirement for the master's programs in the traditional setting. So that is not a requirement for our alternative certification programs. Probably you're looking at the special education in early childhood or elementary special requirements. And this is because there's not a corresponding major usually. So if somebody is a biology major, they will come for biology and that sort of thing. So we have looked at other requirements. This was actually set by one of our first alternative route programs that came through here that set that precedent. So those candidates that do not have a corresponding major are required to take the Praxis Core in order to show that they have the knowledge base to do so in those areas.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
I have a question, please, ma'am. Could you tell me whether those Teachers of Tomorrow, one of the requirements is to have had the letters training?
To have the letters training. So they are, Teachers of Tomorrow, once you begin in an alternative route program, you're already in the classroom. So their first year is kind of corresponding with job embedded work. So they are required to do the Read to Succeed training that's required by the state, but they'll do that as a professional development. So they'll do that within those, the required amount of time, usually in their first 3 years.
I have a question as well.
Sure.
We're seeing more and more of these alternative certification programs being encouraged. And I think about the report that we received, I guess, in June from the Teacher Recruitment Task Force. And I know that I'm happy to see other means and methods for teachers to become certified because we need it. Do you predict that we'll be seeing more alternative certification programs coming through this committee to this board?
I do believe so. Every district is looking for something just slightly different, it seems, in very many places. So we are looking at the possibility of that happening. Because of that, in March 2019, I believe we created those guidelines for folks to go ahead and submit to become a preparation provider for an alternative route certification. But due to our critical needs designations and all of these things, it's really been important, I think, for our districts and for our providers to have that opportunity to do that, especially in some areas where, the districts can kind of say, this is what we need at this time. So then when we get those proposals, they are very rigorously reviewed. I mean, there is a lot of work that goes into those. But once they come through, I do imagine we'll probably be seeing more and more of them. Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me, it doesn't have a lot to do with this, but the question was asked a while ago, how many vacant classrooms do we have in South Carolina?
I don't want to misspeak on this. Vacant classrooms in South Carolina?
At this point in the year, I don't think we have a good read on the number. Sarah typically sends out that supply and demand survey right around Labor Day. So by the fall, we'll start to gather information from Sarah's report on the number of vacancies being reported. I think anecdotally, we hear in our office from districts, and it's statewide where we see vacancies, not always where we might predict. And it's sometimes in certain targeted areas, obviously, math, science, special education. But we do see some vacancies in some other fields as well. So I think early in the fall may be the first real sense we have of the number of vacancies for the 23-24 year.
You know whether anything's being done to try to decrease the number of people that come before us to be discredited or?
The disciplinary cases?
Yeah.
Well, we certainly have seen an increase in the number of disciplinary cases related to breach of contract in the last 3 years. There's no doubt about that. As part of our educator preparation guidelines, our colleges and universities include training and professional ethics for educators. I think our districts clearly have a focus on that as well. But I think we all realize the importance of professional ethics for our educators and just the decision-making. You know, the number of decisions that a teacher makes every day is staggering. And if we can help teachers make decisions considering all the risk factors out there, I think that's always a goal that we have. We do have, I know Palmetto State Teachers Association has some professional development and professional ethics as well. So it's an important question. So.
Are there any other questions? Is there a motion to approve?
Yes. I move that we approve additional certification fields of early childhood education, PK through grade 3, and special education, multi-categorical, PK through grade 12 for Teachers of Tomorrow.
Thank you, Board Member Slaughter. Is there a second?
Second.
Board Member Cordray seconded the motion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. We will now ask for committee members to approve adding EP 1, 2, 3, and 4 to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to place action items 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the consent agenda?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Board Member Cordray made a motion to approve the consent agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Board Member Slaughter seconded the motion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Is there any other business to come before the committee? Hearing none, we will adjourn. Thank you very much.